OK, mate, so what's first?
Well, I've kicked it over and it's got a bit of compression.
OK.
So I think we'll take the plug out and see if it's got a spark.
OK, well, go on then.
Fortunately, as we suspected, it's not too bad. The spark plugs spark.
Look at that.
It's good news.
We have a spark.
The spokes don't quite ping like a Stradivarius, but none are broken. The big question mark is over the engine. Sam's got to change the filters, sort the carb, and give the whole thing a good going over. But fingers crossed, it'll go.
Now, can I ask you one question while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Would you have a rabbit in your house? Upstairs? Not in a cage?
No.
I thought so. OK, carry on.
There are a few idiosyncrasies. A headlight mounted upside down, a badly painted exhaust downpipe, and a foot peg with the wrong size nut. But Sam's not found any real engine problems, so it looks like we've got ourselves a nice little runner.
I've got a feeling that this bike might go.
But there's only one way to find out.
That is... that's unheard of!
Amazingly, it started first time.
Yes! Hey!
Well, OK, it's not quite a Harley-Davidson, it's not quite a Vincent Black Shadow.
It flies!
But the sheer thrill of getting on a bike that's been gathering cobwebs in the back of a shed for the last umpteen years is something else.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah, great.
Hey?
That was genuinely a first kick starter.
No, genuinely. Yeah,
pretty
unbelievable.
weird.
I put it down to cleaning that carb, mate.
Yeah.
Test drive complete. All that remains is a small snag list. We've got to buy new rubbers for the foot pegs, the kickstart and the gear change, and make up a number plate. But we'll leave it to the next owner to sort tyres, mirrors and MOT. Our last task, though, is my favourite bit, adding a touch of style.
Transfers?
Yeah, I think so.
OK, what do we need?
We need a little pan of water.
That'll do.
Here's a
I've
little
got some
pan.
water here. OK. How much? That?
That'll do.
Good.
Modern manufacturers tend to use vinyl stickers, but as ever, with historic brands, we've got some traditional water slide transfers. They're easy to rip, so you have to be careful, but they look just great.
So you get it in the right spot and then
Vaguely. Oh, right, so you do that.
hold the transfer.
Oh, will you look at that?
Ah, the Great British Transfer off.
That looks beautiful.
Is it straight?
I think it might be. OK, now price-wise, right, it is a rolling restoration. We are going to sell it without an MOT.
I think it'd be nice to get £1,000 for it.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to advertise it for a bit more.
So that would mean we'll make about 350 quid. OK, so all I've got to do now is do the little things that Sam wants me to do and then work out a way to sell it.
Classic lawnmowers, it turns out, are not as valuable as bikes. Even if we get this thing to cut grass, it's never going to keep us in clover.
The problem is, mate, I think, is that people who are collecting lawnmowers, you know, perhaps a lot of them don't have so much money, so consequently the price of these is pretty low. It's not, I don't believe, £300.
I've got an idea.
What is it?
If we can get it going all right,
Yep.
how many lawns do we have to cut to get our money back?
That is a good point. Hey?
Yeah.
We could become groundsmen.
Whatever happens though, our priority is to get it going, all 200 kilos of it. First thing to check, the ignition system.
Oh, please let there be light.
Come in.
Nothing. It's not a great start, but it's not that surprising really. For all we know, this royally appointed mower hasn't cut grass since the coronation. The solution is to start stripping and fettling. First the magneto. This supplies the electricity to make the spark plugs spark. Sam gives the points a manicure and a clean-up. Next, the valves. They need to be well lubricated or the engine won't run. and the grass will stay well and truly put. The last thing to look at is the carburettor. This controls the mixture of fuel and air, and it's full of small components that get easily bunged up.
This is where the air comes through. So it can, can be...
so anything could come in.
Anything, yeah.
Could be a small piece of herbaceous border, couldn't it?
Yeah, could be a squirrel nesting. Really small.
After 2 hours of cleaning, cursing and praying, we're finally ready to give it a go.
That is close.
Close, but not close enough.
Shall I ring Greg?
What for? Well, ask me if he wants
is
to
there
buy
a
a
sale or
mower.
return policy?
Don't reckon.
And then suddenly...
Yes! Yes! Yes!
That's enough for me, man.
It's kind of incredibly therapeutic. And also, you keep away from the main house, obviously, which I know sometimes benefits my relationship with my wife, not with you. We're not going to paint all of it. The brass elements will look much better polished up, so I take them next door to shed number 2, where Master Polisher Guy has promised to give them a good going over. Guy's top tips for using an electric buffer are to press gently, keep moving, start with a coarse grade mop and then gradually go finer and finer. My top tip, get Guy to do it. Back in shed number 1, Sam's ready to paint. Most of it's going to be British Racing Green, but the base will paint black. Your best using specialist metal paint, something that doesn't need a primer or undercoat.
When we were queuing at Bonneville to set land speed records together, I never imagined we'd ever get the opportunity to do anything as exciting as this.
This is much more exciting than doing a land speed record at Bonneville.
Yeah.
Once it's dried, the final stage is putting it all back together. This is a lot quicker than taking it apart, but still requires a bit of banging.
It's like tuning a small piano, isn't it?
Yeah.
After 2 days of stripping, sweating, buffing, polishing, primping and preening, it's finally ready for the finishing touch, a brand new glass face.
Will you stand back and feast your eyes on our work, mate? It looks a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah, really nice.
Hi there. Welcome to this episode. Now look, by popular demand, I'm back on the Bentley. Everyone's been going, oh, you haven't done the Bentley in ages. What's going on? Have you still got it? Well, look, I'd never part with this thing. I absolutely love it. And we're back on the Bentley for a good reason. I've been doing the 1100s and 1000s and the Honda Rebel and all the rest of it. But yeah, I am back on the Bentley. And the reason being, and I've wanted this on here since I put the fairing on, I've been looking high and low. I had to drive all the way to Shropshire to get them. But I have, check this out, a pair of Rickman panniers. They're Alpines. I didn't know that, actually. I only found that out once I bought them. For the Honda Bentley. Now, these didn't come off a Bentley. They came off a CM250 Custom, which the frame is quite a bit bigger. But look, they're all right. They've got the rubbers on them. They've got the opening straps. I have one key that fits both of them. So I've got a key. I can get another one cut as I've got the original. And here they are. Now look, a few bits came with them. It had these, which basically bolt there and then go to the footrest. I have offered these up, as you can see in the background, which I'll drop onto in a minute. The rack is on it. But these are nowhere near long enough. I've had a sighting lap with these and put them on the mounts that are on the bike that I've managed to get on there. So I'm going to have to make some more of these the right length out of this bar. I've got another bar over there in the workshop. It's really sturdy. And the reason you need this is because when the panniers are vertical, if you haven't got a stay on the bottom here to the footrest, they can waggle in and out like this. And also they're supported on a round bar. And they can pivot round. And this stops all that and it stiffens the whole assembly up. So I will be bending this. Obviously it's got to be, you know, done roughly this sort of shape, but a lot longer. It needs to come to about here. So that's that. We'll be doing that. We're going to mount the panniers on the rack. Now, obviously these, I didn't see them on the bike. The guy had already taken them off. And they've obviously only been mounted there, there and there, and straight on the rack. Now what I want to do is make a metal plate to go on here, and I'll use all these mounting holes, so there'll be a plate bolted on with 5 fixings. And that also makes it sturdier. With this piece to the footrest and that plate, it stiffens the whole assembly up, and it stops any movement, and it also means you can load them to the gunnels. You can't just put a pair of waterproofs in, you can have it stuffed full of whatever you want in there. So it's a bit laborious, but I am going to make 2 plates for this one and this one. They're both identical, so once you've made one, you've got the template for the other. So that's that, so we'll be doing that in a minute. And the other thing I noticed, when I haven't bolted these on, but when I offered them up, I noticed that the original footrest go back at an angle like this, and when you go to pivot it down, it was fouling the pannier. So I would have had to leave them down all the time. Well, I don't want that. And it just shows you, never throw anything away. These things, I worked on a BM many, many years ago. I don't even know if they're the Rider or Pillion. I think they're Rider, and they're adjustable. Like they used to do. You don't get bikes with adjustable footrests now, not really anyway. That's so simple, so I can bolt that on. So the original footrest came back at an angle from here. This moves it forward, what's that, an inch? And you can have it vertical, so it'll clear the panniers, and it also makes it a little bit further away from the panniers. If you have big feet with the standard ones, even if you're folding them out, well, your heels would be right up against the pannier and you wouldn't be properly supported. So these still aren't perfect, but they're far enough away to make it usable. So when I cleared my shed out, when I got this workshop, I very nearly threw these in the bin. I'm so pleased I didn't, and it just shows you, never throw anything away. Even if you're being nagged, oh, you've got to have a clear out, don't. Hang on to it. And these, the profile of these aren't that dissimilar from the standard Rider pegs. The Pillion pegs on the Bentley are round, and also mine are gone, so they go down at an angle. You know what I mean? When the pivots are worn, they go like this and your feet slide off them if you hit a bump. Whereas this is all as it should be, and it gives me the clearance I need. So these will be going on, and I've had to buy longer bolts, obviously, because the Honda thing's a little thin tin. These are rather sturdy. So I've got some 10mm metric fine bolts to bolt them on with. So the first thing I've had to do is get the rack to fit. It was nowhere near going to fit. So come round, Harry, and I'll just talk through that quickly, and then we'll get on with the pannier brackets. This rack, I kid you not, I've cut 60mm out of this. It was way too wide. These arms were miles out. And I thought, oh, I had to scratch my head for about an hour, have a cup of tea, think about it, as you do. And I've used the original mount here. That was already on the rack, and that mounts up with the rear mudguard mount on the frame. So that's really sturdy. It's on the main frame of the motorcycle. And then obviously this end needs to go to the top of the shocks. So all I had to do was shorten this, and I've got my mate Jay down the way here to weld on these tabs. So it doesn't look very pretty at the moment. This will be powder coated black when we're all done and dusted and I know it all fits. So I've welded tabs on, used that mount, and I sliced it here and then cut 60mm out, braced it inside with a bit of tube, solid bar, in fact not tube, bar, and then Jay welded up. It still needs a little bit of linishing and that, but you can see I'm really happy with the width of that. It's kind of in keeping with the bike. And then I got it all on there, and then I went to fit the seat, and it was only loosely assembled. Luckily it wasn't welded, and then these fouled the seat, so I've had to put a spacer in there. But I'm really happy with that. It's really sturdy. Oh, and you may notice I've got a black and silver number plate, because I've been told that's legal on this. My mate Keith, who used to be a police rider, came round and said no, it isn't. But I've been told if it's historic, you can have a black and silver number plate. Maybe someone out there can correct me on this, or let me know what actually is the scenario. I've been told if it's historic on the logbook, you can have a black and silver, because apparently it used to be L reg or something, and this is a W. So anyway, we'll clear that up down the line, and I may even run the gauntlet, because I do love that, and hopefully I won't lose my licence. But so look, the rack's on, we've done the welding, done the fitting, happy with that. These are the mounts that came with the panniers, and they were bolted there, and then obviously one at the bottom. But I'm going to make this plate, so let's get on with making the plate. Now the first part of the process is to make this plate, which is going to be not a big job, but it's going to take a little while. So the first stage in that, as ever with me, I don't know how other people do it, but this is the only way I can do it. You make a cardboard template, and there it is. So look, that goes on there. I'm happy with that. Look, it's not perfect, it's not dead straight, but I'll cut this and linish it when it's done. But that is good enough. It covers the mounting holes, look. I've taken the plugs out of there ready for this one. And I've now got to cut this out. So I literally started with a bit of card, laid it on, and if you crease it with your thumb, you can see the witness mark of where it is. I drew them in by hand, straightened it up with a straight edge. I use this. And there it is. So now I've got to make 2 of these. So I've got my template. There's my lump of alley. I've just found this. I've got a stash over in the corner. It's not immaculate, look, but I'm not mirror polishing this. It'll get filthy on the bike in there. So I think this is 4 1/4 mil thick, which is plenty sturdy enough. I'm going to cut the middle out so it doesn't weigh too much. Not that that's that much of a thing, but it's just nicer if it's... I remember them being like this, so I'm going to do it like that. And I've already drawn on it. Look, I've drawn around my template there. There we go. And now I'm going to cut this out with an angle grinder. So, right, next is the cutting. Now, the first thing is, and this is very important, put your tea over there, because otherwise it's going to get full of aluminium dust, and you don't want that. I've done it many a time. So I'll put that over there. I've got some sort of gloves just to keep the worst of the muck off me. Also, I'm wearing an old watch, so I don't care if that gets anything hitting it. And the first thing to do, I always do this, you don't have to, but it's good if you clamp it down. And then you just go around your lines. I'm going to cut the outside first, and then what we're going to have to do is drill some holes in the corners and then cut it with an angle grinder, just to try and make it look reasonably pretty. So I've got my glasses. Hang on, where's my others? I might try and wear them as well. Actually, I'm not going to wear. Can I wear them? Don't know if that's worth wearing them or not. Anyway, so right, I'm going to cut this line first, obviously, because that's what's overhanging, and we'll just rotate it when we're ready. Right, that's the first one cut. I'll tidy these up with a flap disc later. So, yeah, now on to the next one. Just one quick thing here. A lot of people think when you cut with an angle grinder, you can't cut in a curve. But if you gradually reduce the cut, you can follow a curve. And it'll never be perfect, but by the time I flap disc that off, that'll look quite a nice curve. And as you can see, I've got fairly near the line. A lot of people think you've got to cut in a straight line. You don't have to if you go gently, especially on a long radius like that. Right, that's the basic outline of it cut out. This doesn't need to be too fancy because you can't really see it on the bike. I'm now going to flap disc the edges to get them nice and smooth and take all these rough bits off. But you don't need to get too fussy with this particular one. So now I'll flap disc it smoother on the vise. So now I'm just going to dress these surfaces I've cut just to make them a bit better at the moment. Right, that's getting there now. So all I'm going to do now is, because I'm going to be handling it to cut the middle bits out, I'm just going to take the burrs off the edge. I'll just use one of these for this. So that's that. Now this one, I'll take them off for this, I don't need them for this. Right, before we go any further, so I'm not wasting time if it's wrong, just going to offer my template up. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it is just a bracing plate, and when it's on you can't really see it, but you know what, I think that's fine. It covers the 5 holes, they'll bolt on, and that'll make this really rigid. So the next thing to do is cut out the middle. So right, I'm happy to progress with that, that's okay. Right, next I've got to cut the middle out, and to do that I'll put a big hole in each corner and then just join it with an angle grinder, and then the middle hopefully will drop out. So first thing is to get this thing in. This is just a hole saw, so yeah, you just drill through until you put a hole in each corner of that inner bit. Right, that'll be over the line, that one. Then you just lock it all off so it can't move. Give it a little bit of that, and hopefully it'll cut. Just go steady. Try not to get it all too hot, that's what this is doing, it's coolant. Right, that's the first one cut. There we go. I'm sure there are proper engineers out there, because I don't count myself as a proper engineer. I'm not qualified in any way. Would tell me I'm doing this completely wrongly, but with what I've got available, that's what I do. Next, I've just got to redraw my lines. And then cut them out, and hopefully the middle piece will drop out and it'll all be a perfect fit. Now the cutting. Hopefully I won't make a mistake at this stage. I've done it before. It's so soul destroying. Last thing you're going to do, and you louse it up. Well, hopefully that won't happen. Right, that's the 4 cuts done, so that comes out. It won't look that impressive at the moment, but I'll just tidy these up again with a flap disc, just get them roughly level, and then I can drill it and mount it to the pannier. Right, I've offered the plate up to the pannier that it's going on. With Harry's help, we've held it in place. Sometimes you need an extra pair of hands. And just with a Sharpie, I've marked the holes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just going to centre punch them, and then I'll drill them on the pillar drill. So just get this as near the middle as you can by eye. It doesn't have to be mega accurate. I'll make the holes 8.5 mil, so I've got a bit of leeway to jiggle it. That's okay. Right, that's just so you can locate it on the pillar drill with a small drill. It's locked off. Well, you locate it, lock it off, drill a pilot hole, and then you take them out to 8.5 mil, and then they'll bolt on here, hopefully. Right, the plate is now cut out. I'm really happy with that. I've offered it up against the pannier, and I'm happy with the fit. I've marked the holes, and I'm just going to drill 5 8mm holes, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, it didn't move while I was marking it, and the holes will line up with the holes on the pannier. So, right, I'll just drill the holes. That's the first one, and just go on and do the others. Right, I've now drilled the plate. Let's see if it lines up. Hopefully it will. The only problem you can get with this is if it's moved when you've marked it. But look, you can see there the holes. That lines up. That is, I would almost say perfect, although nothing's ever perfect. So that's that. I've now just got to make another one the same. To save you lot getting bored, I didn't film making the other one because it was exactly the same process all over again, and it's been long-winded enough. So here is another one. So I've got that one there. I've just made this one, and that lines up beautifully. So look, the next stage, what I think I'm going to do is bolt these up on the bike. They'll go reasonably tight and hopefully roughly in the right place. And then when they're on and I'm happy with that fit, that they're all vertical, I can then make the stay that goes from this bolt to my BMW footrest mount. So the next thing is get them on the bike. They'll need to be jiggled a little bit, but get them on and make the sort of torque arm stay bottom bracket bit that stops them wobbling in and out, and it should stiffen up the whole assembly. And hopefully then I can load it to the gunnels. Right, so I've got the mounting bolts loosely in. I'm just going to nip these up. And look, you could ride it with just these on now, but I'll just show you what difference it'll make when the torque arm's on. Obviously, when you do these up, it does the clamps up, so you can't pivot it round the bar. This is only, at the moment, just vaguely getting it set. I want to put it there, and I can slacken these when I've made the torque arm and align it all then. This is just clamping the plate to the pannier, just gives it a bit more strength. It just spreads the load. Instead of having 2 mounting bolts at the top on washers, it's now got 5. As you can see, that's already pretty sturdy, look, but with the bottom one on, it should be bomb-proof. Right, now I'm going to start making the bottom stay to stop the panniers when you're going along, they're vertical, to stop them wobbling like that. And it just really makes them rigid. So I've put a 10mm hole in for the pillion footrest mount, so that's the front mount. And there will be a hole in the back here that goes onto the back of the panniers, onto that metal frame. But obviously it needs to be dogleg shaped because the pannier's out here and the footrest is there. So it's got to come out and back. So I've got to bend this. So I've slightly rounded the end. I'll tidy all this up once I've bolted it on. I'll take it off and properly radius these. I've just done a little bit with an angle grinder. So next, I've got to heat this cherry red and then bend it in the vise. So that's what we're going to do next. Here's the mark that I want to bend it on. Now the thing is, if I clamp that in the vise now, like that there, which is where I'm going to bend it, and heat it here, the vise will suck the heat out of it below that line. So it's best to try and get it cherry. Well, I'll try with this blowtorch. Really, I need something a bit hotter. That's all I've got though. So I'll heat that cherry red, and then I'll clamp it in the vise and then quickly try and knock it. I think I want about 45 degrees on it. So it's always best to do it a little bit less than you think you need, and then you can go again straightening it. You can straighten it, but it's better if you can get it the right angle without over bending it. So let's see how it goes. I think this blowtorch is going to struggle with this, but we'll see how it goes. It's quite a thick bit of steel. There we go, look, it's starting to glow. I think it's roughly about there. This doesn't have to be that accurate, it's just to get an angle on it. Try and go fairly quickly. I think that'll do for the time being, and now I'm just going to quench it in some water. This also doubles up as my fridge. Here we go. And then we have a bend in it. I might have done that a bit too far, but we'll have a look. Right, so there's the bend I've put in. Now obviously this is coming out at an angle. I now need to, the back bit's coming out like that, I need to straighten it up to line up with the plate. So I've got a ruler that's roughly straight, and I'm pressing it on the plate, so that's the angle it wants to go. Hang on, let's move that back a bit. So there's not much distance on this. So if I touch that there, if I mark that there, that's roughly where the bend needs to be, because I need to bend that in. Now, you always go slightly this side of the line, because by the time you bend it, you've got the thickness of the metal. So it's actually crossing there. And I'm going to come back about 3 or 4 mil and then bend it, and hopefully that'll be in line. And as you can see, it's not much of a bit there before I'm bending it back the other way. And normally, this wants to be pretty parallel with that first bit. So that's roughly where I'm going to bend it to get it in line with the pannier. So I've now got my second mark of where I want to make the second bend to bring it back parallel with the pannier. So it's same again, heat it, put it in the vise, and hopefully it'll all line up. Where's my mark? Am I going the right way? Oh, it's that way, isn't it? That was a bit slow doing that. I think that's enough actually. I think I've gone too far. I'm going to try that. I'll probably have to rejig that. But there we go, there's the other. It's roughly straight. We'll see how that is when I get it on the bike. we go. Right, so there's the bend I've got. I've got my 10mm hole. I've slightly radiused this. I'll tidy that up later. I'm just going to radius this one a bit, and then I'm going to drill the hole. That's the one that mounts sort of on the pannier end, and then we'll see if it fits. Right, that's it loosely radiused. I'm not going to mega detail yet because I don't 100% know it fits. It should do, but let's get it on there when it all works, then I'll detail it. So the last final job is to drill an 8mm hole, because it's an 8mm bolt, in this end. Right, there's a centre punch mark. Put that on there. Need my clamp. Just look at the mess I've made doing this. It looks like a bomb's hit the place, but it's amazing how many tools you use just doing a simple job like this. I mean, look at it. I go to other people's workshops and they're immaculate. Mine, sort of, I have tidying up phases where it's immaculate. Then once I'm in the middle of a job, all hell seems to break loose. I mean, look at it. That's why I can never find things when I'm looking. Now, first of all, I need to plug all this in. Right, there we have one of the stays for the bottom of the pannier. That would be the left-hand side, where it comes back from the footrest and onto the bottom of the pannier. And as I said earlier, that stops the pannier wobbling in and out like this when you're going along. And that really is nice and strong and rigid. So look, I've got one. I'm not going to film making another one because that would get boring. So I've just got to make another one of these, and then I can attach them to the panniers, which are already, I'll say loosely, they're not loose actually, but they're bolted on there, but they've got a little bit of jiggle room. And then I can fit these and stand back and hopefully admire. So it's mad, isn't it? I get quite excited about this. I've wanted some panniers on this bike since I've had the fairing, which has been a long while. It took me a while to find some. But, so yeah, hopefully nearly at the final moment of assembly. I've made the second one of these. That's gone on and it's fitted beautifully. So now it's just the last one that I made, and hopefully this should fit as well. So let's just get it on the bike and go from there. It's a little bit fiddly actually getting in here. Put that one on. Just get it on the bolt. Try and... This is where you need a third hand. Hang on. That's better. I'm not going to do this up tight yet. I'll get it so I can still move that arm and get it on the bolt on the pannier. Just hope it does actually fit. I'll just seat this one now. I'm not going to do it up really tight. Then I'll seat the other one properly. And then I'll nip them both up. Wants to go about there, I think. Just ever so slightly backwards, pointing backwards. These BMW footrests, they're great. They're perfect for this. Get that done up tight. Well, they're quite similar. I like them, and it's moved them forward an inch as well. So you should just about be able to get on those. Now tighten this one up. I want to absolutely do these up mega tight because it'll crunch the panniers. So on these I put nylock nuts so that when you do them up like this they won't rattle loose. That's what our nylock nuts for. So you don't have to do it up mega tight. That won't undo because it's a nylock. So you just firm it up and don't crunch the fiberglass. I've got big washers on it anyway to spread the load. I've got the plate to spread the load, so hopefully that won't all crack and break. And I mean, look at that, that's absolutely solid. That arm stops this movement sideways. I'm happy with that. This one's on. I've got the torque arm on this one already, save filming doing 2 of them. So look, let's just have a look. I think the alignment on those is lovely. They're pretty equal, either side for offset and all that kind of thing. I've just got clearance on the seat, so that's fine. They're nice and near the actual rack, so they're tucked in, and they hardly stick out from the fairing, so that's great. In fact, they don't really stick out from the fairing. So that's that. That's happy days. It needs a road test, but I know that'll be fine. I used to ride one of these back in the day. So believe it or not, it is finished, except for the fact the whole lot's got to come off. I want to get this blasted to get all the paint off for where I'm welded it up here. And I think I'm going to get it powder coated gloss black. So that's the last job to do, but you've always got to do, this is in effect a dry build. It's been built, it's checked. When it's all on and you've got all your bolts cut to length, so that once it's finished, you're not messing around and hopefully don't scratch it. So yeah, powder coating and definitely gloss black, because that'll go with all this stuff. And I think that'll look fantastic. Right, here I am at Pro Custom with the incredible Arnie. Now Arnie, I had a late night last night. Jordan didn't get to mine until late. Yep. Then there was a load of prep work to do, and as ever, I like to play it safe, so I had to take all this bodywork off, and then I put it all back on again. And you think, why? Because I wanted a dress rehearsal. I've never done a Grom before, and I'm very worried about all this lot fitting together and me chipping the edges after your beautiful paintwork is on. So I've had a dress rehearsal. Okay. I'm kind of happy. Hopefully it'll be all right. If not, I'll be back here, tail between my legs, going on. As the very first 5.4 I built, I did scratch that with a file, trying to file a hole, and that was that. So it has been known. So here we have the bodywork that came off late last night. So we got the tank panels, tailpiece, aluminium side panels, got 2 of them. The carbon fibre fairing. Oh, there's the infill for that. That's going on the inside of that. Arnie's going to resin this in and then paint it because we didn't want bolts on the outside, so we're going for that. This is the centre panel that these clip to. There's your filler cap. That all goes like this somehow. Yeah, whatever. And the nitrous bottle. Now, in a minute, Matt, the influencer, who has done the paint design, he has been in touch with me. I've had a bit of input, but I've tried, very difficult for me, I've tried to give him a free rein and let him do his thing. And I like, so far, what he's done. There's a couple of things to talk about. One, he's got this as gold. I'm not too sure about that. And he did have a load of grey on the side panels, which I said, they can't all be grey. So
you don't like grey?
I don't like grey. Only because, Arnie, look around, there's all these beautiful colours. And why go grey? Anyway, that's my bit on grey. I don't like grey because Arnie can paint lovely colours. And the other thing is this has got to be thin, the paint on this, purely because we've had a CNC mount machined out of steel because Jordan only had them in alley, but it's not an alley swing arm and it's being welded on. And I want to get it in without scratching it. So if this has your usual 1,500 layers on it, it won't go in. All right, so that's the only word of warning on that. Mate, I'm sorry to inflict you with resining that in. These, late last night, I have just finished the edges. They need a little bit of work still. And mate, we are up against it time-wise. But I totally trust you. You've never let me down. The paint, look, there's a 5.4 paintwork here. Arnie's just touching them. The guy got stone chips in it, so that's in. And Arnie's added yours truly signature to it. So there we go. I'm flattered with that. I hope he enjoys the bike. It's nice to be reacquainted with something I've already built. That must be, what, 2.5, 3 years ago? That's number 3. It was a very early one.
Yeah, it's one of the first ones.
So that must be 3 years old. I know they're over 3 years actually, because Keith, who's got one from the same batch, he's got number 5, and I made the first 5 together. He's just had to have an MOT. So it's over 3 years old.
Yeah.
So there we go. So it's nice to be reacquainted with that. So look, Matt B is going to be here hopefully in a minute. He's never had a bike painted before. He's never touched a motorbike before. So mate, his paint job is quite funky, and it is definitely youth orientated. So I need to shut up and just learn maybe for a minute. It isn't the colours I'd have painted, but I don't mind it. I think it's quite cool. He's got some nice effects going on. My only worry is, I think his effects, from your point of view, is quite a lot of work. So I'm worried about the time and cost. So there we go. And also the other thing with caution is these pop out. I'd like to have got these made in CNC'd in aluminium and mirror polished them. We haven't got the time or the budget. So these are going to be painted. So if you pop these out, because it's going to have to line up in various places with the paint, I need to know which ones go where. And this mark here is where the top of the bottom yoke is, and I think the colour's going to change there and run up here at an angle.
Line up as
it's kind of like there. I think that's lower than the I can't remember.
That is lower, yeah.
So look, Arnie, Matt's a nice guy. You haven't met him. Have you chatted to him on the phone?
I have spoken to him on the phone, yeah.
He's a lovely guy, and I'm so looking forward to seeing it when it's done, mate. And then I can go and scratch it.
No.
We haven't got time to redo it. Oh, that's the other thing. Can I have some little touch-up of each colour, just in case, you know, when this clips in the plastic, if a tiny little bit comes up, I could touch it in, because we won't have time to redo it. No. So, yeah, a little touch-up. I meant to ask you for that. Hopefully I won't need it.
Cotton gloves.
Yeah, and if I've got the touch-up paint, I won't need it. If I haven't, I will. So that's the principle. So, mate, how long do we reckon?
Is it
2 weeks or more? 3 weeks? What do you reckon? Seriously?
I'm seriously thinking it is going to be 2 weeks.
Well, that's fine.
Possibly a couple more days on top, just depending. It's just once we get Matt here and we can finalise exactly what's happening, we know exactly where we are then, and then it's just a case of bonding this part in. Obviously, we've got to get this part bonded into here.
I'm sorry about that, Arnie. I didn't intend doing that to you.
So
I only found out late last night.
That's obviously an alignment thing, so it can be quite time consuming. We're going to get rid of these.
Yeah, they've got to go.
So these are sort of your time consuming parts just to get us started. Now once we've got that part done, there's no repair sort of thing.
I hope not.
So we're good on that. There's a bit of work to do on these, but nothing major. So once we've got this bit done, we're sort of starting to reach top of hill. When we get to the top of hill and we're coming down to the side,
but
things flow.
But I mean, I've seen his designs. He sent me digital images. We put the bike outside my workshop in these colours, and he sent me pictures of it beautifully painted. It's quite incredible. Now, what I've seen of the design, I may be wrong in this, Arnie, but from what I know about paint, which is little, I'm rubbish at painting myself. I can rattle cans something black, a bit of a frame or something. But his design to me looks quite, how shall I put it, involved. It's not a 2 minute. It's not like it's candy orange and black stripe and it's dead easy. No. There's quite a lot going on.
When I'm doing something like this, it's a case of I will shut the door, lock it, don't answer my phone will go into silent, and I will just be left to work on my own without any interruptions, because it is going to be a complicated paint job. Looking at what's going into, from what we've seen on photograph wise, there's going to be a good couple of days in sorting out the colours, getting it all lined, getting all your masking sorted to get everything laid in. So I'll probably run it through a night shift. So I will work straight through the day, through the night, and then into the next day. It's tiring, but I can keep a flow going that way.
I'm the same, mate. Once I'm doing stuff like making stuff and designing a bike, I go non-stop, and I'm always in trouble when I get back to the house with my wife. So when you've locked yourself in here away doing this, if your wife phones me, I'm not going to pick up. My name's going to be Dirt. It's that Guy Willison again.
I mean, I've got to admit, I've got a great wife. She don't mind me doing this, working late and working through at night. But it's just keeping your concentration level going. And
also, do you find you get in a flow? And when it's flowing, it's not like you're afraid to stop because you're going to lose it, but you get in a flow, and you might be way late into the night, but it doesn't feel like it,
No,
does
no,
it?
no,
Even
no.
when you're knackered,
You go
you're
past it.
inspired, and it's amazing what that adrenaline and that inspiration does.
Yeah.
And you want to keep going till you've set yourself a target. I'm going to get to, I don't know, all the masking off done, or all the priming, or and you just stay, and then you go home and collapse. But you only collapse for 4 hours, then you're eager to get back in.
Yeah.
And I find that, mate, when I'm doing my styling, you know, I think about nothing else, blinking. I don't like interruptions. That's why people think I'm antisocial, and I am when I'm doing that. I'll take that on the chin.
Yeah. It's just
But that's what it takes, isn't
keeping
it?
going your concentration levels. Plenty of caffeine works for me.
And I'm never happier when I'm
Coffee.
shut away designing something. It's like time disappears.
Yeah.
All your cares in the world go. I'm not thinking about my mortgage payment when
No,
I'm
no, no.
when I'm fettling a bike. That is just by the by. Anyway, look, mate, I'm going to shut up. Hopefully Matt will be here in a minute. And
Should be
hopefully,
on now.
fingers crossed, he likes what we've got.
Yeah. I can't see there being any problems, to be honest with you.
No.
It all looks like everything's going to work, so we'll crack
All
on
right,
and get
mate.
it sorted.
Well, let's wait for him to turn up. Next, Arnie, Matt B and myself were together for the first time to go through the finer details of the paintwork and make sure that everyone was happy.
I'm working from a 2D picture, so
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lines are going to be slightly
Yeah,
different,
don't
you know what I
worry.
mean?
Just that ideology, really.
Yeah, so,
There's a good
and
one.
both sides are not going to be
Ideology.
identical
I
to
like
each
the-
other.
And the
They're all
ideology
slightly
of grey
different.
isn't right.
It's a nice t-shirt, what colour's that?
Yeah, I thought I'd be
Wash
more.
black, wash black.
And when it's 6 years old, mate,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
look tatty as well. Now, the other thing I noticed, these side panels,
Yep.
there's a black line here. Is that being
Yep.
painted in
I can paint you that.
as a black line? Is it a black line?
I think distinguishing it would be good.
Yeah.
Because we
Doesn't
put
need
that
that.
as a drop shadow, you know, because we thought there was going to be a cut or a curve in it.
Yeah.
So I think even just a
Is
black.
black the right colour for that, do you think, Arnie?
For the drop shadow?
For that,
For that line?
yeah. Is
Yeah.
it going to look like a shadow, or is it going to be a hard line?
It'll be a hard line, but it'll be a faded on one side.
Right, cool. Because I was thinking, should that be one of the primary colours?
No,
But no. Okay. I just wanted to clear that up because I saw that and wasn't sure, because it's a black line on it, whether that was me interpreting it right or not.
Yeah.
It has to have it, so it's a number board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sort of determining that it's two separate panels, even though it is only one.
That hold on writing, there's also a hold on writing on the top of that. Is that still possible?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to do that facing. We talked about this. If you stand at the back of the bike,
Yes,
so it's going
facing
away,
you.
it reads correct from
Yeah,
the back like
yeah,
a number plate.
Big shout, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because we can
that's
orientate
what
this,
I'm
and it also means Arnie will orientate it with the paint job
Depending
that
on where
comes
the
up,
threads
so
go.
it'll come up at the
No,
side there and go
That's
across.
what I said, but it doesn't matter about thread because it's the bracket that holds it.
Oh, okay. No.
So,
So you can still
I
twist
can-
it round.
We can
as long
rotate
as I
this
get,
any way we
yeah,
want.
as long as I
Right.
get the paintwork lined up to the lettering,
Got you.
guy can then fit it to wherever it wants to be.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
And then I'll scratch it, fitting it.
No, you're not going to do that.
I think we're happy, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I'm back from Arnie's. That was a great trip. Join me in the next episode where I get everything back and get the build completed. Now here is an update on the Grom build for Wheels and Waves. I'm slightly up against it, to say the least. The original completion date was today. Now, as you can see, I've got half a bike. There's no swinging arm in, no wheel, no bodywork, no seat. And you think, oh, I'm in big trouble. Well, I'm not really, because although this bike looks like half a bike, if that, everything is being done and it's very nearly ready. Today is Thursday. On Sunday, I'm going to Arnie's to collect the finished paint. I've seen it. It's just a case of sort of letting it dry and vent, and he's got to polish it as well. And then I've got to leave it a couple of days before I move it. I always do that, so hopefully there's less chance of me marking it. So, look, I get the paint on Sunday. I get the seat on Sunday, and I've seen photos of both of those. They are gorgeous. This bike, I think, is going to be spectacular. Jay up the way is painting the swinging arm and all the gloss black bits like fairing mounts. What else has he got? We've made a nice racing triangular stand. We've removed the actual side stand off the bike, and he's got a couple of other bits and pieces. So that's going on. I've got rattle can, just the gear change linkage, and the gear pedal in satin black. That's why Jay's not doing them. So although you look at this and think, Skid, you are in big trouble, I don't really feel I am. I phoned Honda to let them know the situation, and I said it's going to be a weekish late. Is that all right? And they were fine. They said, yeah, that's fine. You've still got a bit of time before it's got to go to France. So here it is. I've done all the handlebar and switch gear. I had a change. I had some black flat drags, which looked uber cool. But the one problem is it really restricted their lock with the tank. So I've gone for some slight risers, and also I like the silver offset with the black switch gear. I've done the Tomaselli grips, they're lovely. I've got some nice stubby racing brake levers. I've done all the routing of the cables. It's all connected up. So really, to finish it, it's bolt on the bodywork, click on the seat, put the swinging arm in and the nitrous bottle, and we're kind of there. So with a tailwind, I think we will be all right. Today is a highly exciting day for me, and I don't often get that excited, as various people will tell you. One, I've got a cup of tea on, which Harry has kindly made for me, and two, I was out till late yesterday running around collecting bits for the Grom. Now, first I went to Ed's and collected the seat, but I've had to, regrettably, well, not regrettably, but I've had to give it to Matt, because he's going to paint splashes on it to go with the paintwork that's on the tank and the rest of the bike. So I haven't actually got the seat, but I have, and feast your eyes, I have the paintwork from Arnie. Now, he has done an absolute belter. Matt was at the workshop cutting out the stencils for him for all these splashes. I mean, and just look at Arnie's work. There's shadows in it, there's highlights, there's an incredible amount of detail in it. Here's the side panels. Those look lovely. I just love if you look at the shadow around all the splashes and the dark lines, I think it looks beautiful. In places, it looks an inch thick, which is exactly what we wanted. So it's got the effect of the paint having run, because the Grom is so damn fast. And from there, Harry, just look at that paintwork on the tank. And I can tell you, this is absolutely to Matt's brief. So I'm over the moon. I, being old-fashioned, wouldn't have gone for pastel colours. But now I see it, I think it looks fantastic. And I've just got a sneaking suspicion that with the satin black wheels and the black frame, this is going to look uber cool. I'm hoping it looks like it's doing 120 miles an hour, stood still. So what are we going to do now? Well, obviously, we're going to fit all this to the bike. I don't know how long it's going to take. The main thing with this is I'm terrified of scratching it, because if I do, look, this bike's already 5 days late. The seat's going to be another couple of days, and I've still got a bit of fettling to do to the bike with Jordan. We've got to put the oil lines on, the turbo's on, the nitrous bottle is on. Oh, and that's the other thing. The nitrous bottle isn't here. Now, the reason for that, it's not in this setup here, it's actually on the bike. And I don't know if you can notice on camera, but this floor is sloping. And that bottle took a tumble at Arnie's. It rolled off the bench when Matt was there going through the design for the paintwork with Arnie. He had the base colours on, and they were going to do the stencils for the detailing, and it rolled off the bench and hit the floor. So because this floor's sloping, just for the night, I thought I'd prop it in the holder, then it can't go anywhere. So look, when we turn around and look at the bike, that's already on the bike. But come and feast your eyes at what else I've been doing to the chassis and cycle parts. Now, as you can see, the nitrous bottle is on. It's plumbed in this end. When Jordan gets down, we'll plumb in the other end. So obviously it's the same colours as the rest of the bike. Same gig, this runny paint effect, look, with splashes that he's painted in. It's got hold on written on the top of it, because hopefully, yeah, we'll have to hang on if this goes anything like we're hoping. The swinging arm is now painted and in, and also Jordan's added a brace. We thought it just looked a little bit spindly, and the amount of power hopefully this will create, we think that's absolutely necessary. That's not a styling thing. But it has caused us one issue. Another thing we're doing this evening is we need a chain tensioner, because I think that chain might foul this lower run on the other side. So Jordan's bringing a chain tensioner and guide to go on there. But I think now that's gloss black. What the difference is when it's painted, suddenly a bike comes alive. It's the detail. Now you see all the silver, you know, the bolts, the adjusters, the footrests, they stand out. When that was just a sort of bit of a manky sort of brushed steel with no paint, where it's all been modded and you could see all the welds, it doesn't look like it looks now. So I'm really happy with that. I've also made an exhaust mounting bracket here. I've polished all the pipe work for the turbo, because especially the inlet one, that would be difficult to polish with the bodywork on, so I've done that to get that out of the way. And then I moved on to the controls. Right, so the controls, actually, they take a bit longer than you think. You think, how long is it going to take to bolt on a set of handlebars, fit some grips, some switch gear, and some levers? Well, because of the way I've done it, it got a little bit involved. You've got to drill holes in the handlebars for the switchgear pegs to stop it rotating, and getting them in exactly the right place. So this is at the right angle on the bar and the right distance in. That's not as easy as it sounds. Everyone thinks that's 30 seconds. It isn't. By the time you've measured it and checked it and double checked it and got it, actually bolted it on there, that takes a little while. And the other thing is, I always love these Tomaselli racing grips with this rubber band here for your hand to go in, which are like racing, and this is a race drag bike. And also they've got the solid ends, which I like. No bar end plugs in this. You don't need to worry about a bit of vibration in the bars in this. This is for going and for hanging on to. So it's got those grips, which I love. They look purposeful, they're simple, and I like those. And I've got some stubby little levers with adjusters for the span on, so they're functional and they look lovely. So that's great. And then you've got to adjust up all the cables and fit them. So that isn't, you look at handlebars, you think that's a 10-minute job. I kid you not, but I had to linish all the lumps off the twist grip, otherwise you see them through this one. So I reckon that took me at least a morning to get these on and get them fitted, so I'm happy, and get everything adjusted. Now at this point, I'm going to get my comeuppance. I took this thing apart so quickly, and also Jordan was with me, and we just kind of ripped it apart. I did luckily take one or two, and I mean one or two photos, but this is my issue. I've got all the bits in bags, but it's not that good, because I've got mudguard and tank left hand side, so that'll be for the front mudguard and the tank on the left hand side, and I've got mudguard and tank right hand side, so that's fairly cool. I'm sure I can work out where those go, but I've also got tailpiece and tank here, so I've got 3 bags of fixings, and I don't exactly know which ones went where. So this now, I've got my comeuppance, it's going to take me 3 times longer than it should, because I'm going to have to fiddle and check all the bolts. I've got the right one in the right place. So, serves me right, lesson learned. Now, I think the most difficult bit of putting this bodywork on is the tank, because of the number of fixings. And also, if you drop one and you've got the front mudguard on, you could, it's very unlikely, but you could chip the paint in it. So I kind of start at the top and work my way down. And also, once this is on, I don't think the rest of it's bad. The fairing, well, they're my mounts that I made, and I know exactly how it goes, and it's only 4 bolts. I mean, you can't really get that wrong. So first off, I'm going to do the tank, and I think, from memory, it all suspends from this centre panel, which goes on here. Right, that's the nitrous bottle fitted. I've bolted that on properly now, and that's the first top of the tank panel in. That's only taken me half an hour. It should take 2 minutes, but it was fiddly, and also working out where the bolts go. So let's roll on. Next panel. Now that's the tank completed. I think it looks fantastic. I mean, Arnie has done an absolute belter. Check that out. The next piece of the jigsaw is the fairing. I just love this. I mean, check that out. Now, hopefully, this has been all test fitted once before it went off for paint, so hopefully I've got my head torch on just in case I need it. Now, the thing to do is to get one in just loosely, so that if you do, you know, let go inadvertently, it can't fall on the floor. So just put that in just loose and then give it a yank. Right, that is on. So I'm going to have to use my head torch. I know it affects the filming, but sorry about that, but it needs must. There's that one. Again, just get these in loose, don't do anything up tight, get all 4 bolts in and then snug it down. There we go. Let's do that one. That's that one. That's it. What I normally do is do the bottom ones up first. Well, this is the fairing off the 1000 that I did, you know, under the 5.4 banner, which is no more, sadly. So I've modified it to fit this. It's a beautiful fairing. I'm very proud of these fairings. It suits this as well as it suited the 1000. It's almost like it was tailor-made for this bike. It fits beautifully around the Speedo. Just gradually snug them down. Don't need to go too mad. Obviously, also, there's a badge to go in here, which Matt is putting his company name in there. So that's cool. My name is on the seat, and Jordan's is on the seat. So I think he's got a little aluminium one done. I don't know. Haven't seen it. But that's going to have to go in, hopefully, when he returns the seat with the dabs of paint on it. And I hope the seat fits. I haven't had a trial fitting. If it doesn't fit because all the foam's different at the front, we're going to be in a world of trouble. But anyway, I've got distracted. There we go. Check that out. That's the paintwork on and fitted. I think this bike is starting to look drop dead gorgeous. All I need to do now is fit the chain and fill this hole with the beautiful leather seat. Right, it's another day, another $1. And this is the final bit here going on the bike. I've got Harry to frame out what I'm about to do at the moment. Now, I went to Arnie's, collected the paintwork, was absolutely gobsmacked by the paintwork, and I've now got that on. And the reason I've got that on and not finished the bike is because when I was at Arnie's, Matt and his mates turned up and took the seat off me. I collected it on the way up to Arnie's. I had it in my hands for an hour and a half, and woof, then it's gone. Because they have painted paint splashes to go with the runny paint on the bike. They've put those on the seat. And check this out. Here it is. Now, Ed's done a belter covering it. I really didn't want to give it to them to paint just because I wanted to get it on the bike. I was so excited. But look, that paint splash effect, I think it's fantastic. And I'll be totally honest, I'd never have thought of doing that. And, you know, with this job, people say I'm a bit of a control freak with my bikes. I don't like people interfering and getting involved. But it's been an absolute pleasure working with Matt, because very early on in the design, I knew I wanted a sort of paint run effect because this bike's so crazy, like the paint's run before it's dry because it's so fast, that kind of vibe. And I turned it over to him. I let him pick the colours. He's picked how the splodges are done and everything. I did a very quick cartoon drawing for him when he was here. I was to explain what I wanted. Well, not what I wanted, but what I thought would suit it. And I did that. I drew these kind of paint runs in literally 10 seconds. I said, that kind of effect. Well, he's done a belter. I mean, and Arnie has. I mean, check that out. Check this out. Now, let's see if my foam styling bit that I gave to Ed for how I wanted this seat to be modified, it's been cut down. It's got the back raised. I'll call these a gunfighter seat because that's what they call them on Harleys. I hope it fits. You know, this is the first time this has been on here with it recovered. Oh, hang on. Hurrah! This bike, can I tell you, I just melt when I look at it. It's everything I wanted it to be. That is the vision I had right from the beginning when Honda dropped this little bike off and it was red. That's the look I wanted. I absolutely love it. And I think, well, I'm gobsmacked, as you can tell. That doesn't often happen to me. And it's so rewarding when a bike comes together like this. I don't think there's anything I want to change on that. It is outrageous and it is cool. So look, thanks very much for watching. I hope you like it. And like and subscribe on the channel because it all really helps.
Chào với Trinh và em mình hơi gần một tí với Trinh con cà phê ăn xinh đẹp lắm và bổ sung với Trinh là gì nhiều đúng là một nơi
Chiếc áo mình sẽ mua là màu tông đỏ. Tông màu đỏ. Quên về trời đâu là hai đứa tiền.
Để xem mùi lắm. Sẽ từng sinh luôn.
Còn bây giờ mình đang hoàn toàn không có xe, còn bây giờ là xe xe của mình xe một về bệnh viện đi đến tất cả. Bây giờ bên cơ xe của mình hôm nay một mình cũng xe con gọi nhiều tôi cũng rất là khoảng một xe này mình sẽ làm đấy.
Và rồi tôi xong xong mình chào và đồng hành cho các video tiếp theo.